Welcome to Smellbad's Gaming. We are here in Hangman's Alley for our next part of the Let's Build for Fallout 4. So we're going to be building a bar, and there's quite a few challenges that we need to sort out. One is the horrible snapping and clipping that can happen in Hangman's Alley. And we're about to see me get incredibly frustrated as I try and sort it out. Now, particularly on the PS4, a lot of the stuff that gets done requires patience, a lot of patience. And I did consider editing this bit out because, a lot of the time it's rinse and repeat. You do the same thing over and over again. But I just wanted to share some of this frustration because, of course, with PS4 not getting mods, and the sort of mods that we will be getting, I should say, won't fix this problem from what I have read. One of the problems is you can't place things anywhere you want. The mods that you get on the other console and on the PC, they do have the Xbox One has a rudimentary mod that allows you to place anywhere, and the PC of course has the place anywhere mod, which truly can place anywhere. It's got a custom script and all sorts of things, which neither console can have custom scripts of that nature. But as you can see, I am trying to find a way in which to clip those floors so that I can push it all the way back into the far wall where there's that chimney piece, because otherwise you can't utilize the whole space at the top of that platform. And I wanted to use the whole platform because I always want what I want, and I'm very stubborn, so I thought, oh well, I will just keep trying. And as you can see, I'm getting pretty close to it. And if you wiggle it around and stuff, sometimes you can actually get it to sort of slide into that chimney thing, that air vent. And I tried everything. I was thinking, okay, there must be a way. I've seen it done. There must be a way. And so I was putting rugs down and then thinking I'll select a rug, but then it jumps, you can't get the pole down that far normally, but all of a sudden it decides it wants to go all the way down into the ground. And that is a very big problem in Hangman's Alley. It's one of the challenges of the place for building. However, it is fun. You get these challenges and you do what you can with what you've got, and you get creative. That's one of the reasons I really like building settlements and stuff in Fallout 4, because you've got all these problems that you've got to deal with. And I don't know why I was doing it in this order. You don't do it in that order. The first rug goes down and then you put the other one down and blah, 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 blah. But anyway, I was getting so frustrated by this time that I probably wasn't thinking straight. And you just got to try these things. And often you can find a way, but it can take a hell of a long time. And you're sort of doing it and you're going back and forward and undoing it and then trying again a different way. And sometimes just looking at it from a different angle and then selecting it will fix it. So we sort of, as a PS4 user, resigned ourselves to the fact that we wouldn't be getting all these cool things that allow you to place in red and place anywhere and expand the size of your settlement build area and stuff like that. So we continue to use these techniques that probably PC users no longer need to use and haven't needed for a very long time. So here I'm trying from a different angle just to see what's going on. Because sometimes if you are viewing it differently, for some reason the game decides, okay, yeah, I'll let you put it there, but not this time. I believe eventually I give up. I can't quite remember at this point. But as you can see, sometimes it's sort of going green at the right time and you think, oh, it's going to just slide into place, and I'm sort of looking where the chimney area is, and then it goes green again and red again, and I'm thinking, come on, it needs to go in there, it wants to go in there. But sadly, I don't think I succeed in this instance. Now, if someone's got an idea on how to do that, on a PS4, I do realise that PS4 users are the most likely to have creative ways of doing this because they don't have mods. But yeah, anyone that's got an idea on a good way to do this, I would certainly appreciate a comment down below, because it's always been a frustration when I build here that thing is in the way. And I think in one build I've managed somehow to get a floor to slide through it, but for the life of me I can't remember how, and I've not been able to achieve it again. And clearly I've forgotten the fact that I've not been able to achieve it again, because here I am frustrated as hell trying to make this work and it won't. And I think it's at about this point I really decided to give up, and now I just want the floor to be nice and close and straight and as far back as it can go without clipping and going red, so that I can build my bar. Now that's what, and there it goes, bouncing off into some nether and neverland for no apparent reason. I sometimes the rhyme or reason for how it moves around like that is beyond me sometimes. So the idea here, getting back to away from plugins and the deep disappointment that there will be no decent mods for PS4, is to build a nice bar. Now, I believe every settlement should have a nice bar. You know, you're living in post-apocalyptic world. About the only nice thing you've got is probably socialising and getting off your trolley at a bar. So every settlement should have a decent bar, and a decent sized one. Problem with Hangman's Alley is there's not a lot of size. So what do? Well, I've always liked sort of building on this particular little platform here. It gives you a bit of cover underneath, and you can turn that into a living space if you really wanted to. Not that, living under a bar. I've once lived next to a bar, and it's not a pleasant thing, so I don't think living under one would be very nice either. But what we'll do is we'll probably decide what to do underneath later. We might even put shops there. But the idea is we'll get 2 levels. One will be sort of this level that I'm doing now, which will be the main bar area, and then above it there will be a sort of a mezzanine. I haven't decided whether the downstairs area will be completely open or be completely covered. We'll cross that bridge when I get up to that level and sort of figure out what to do. But at the moment we're still struggling to get this damn thing in place. Had I just settled for where the floor was before, I wouldn't have had to go through all of this, but because I moved it, now it won't go where I want it. And I'm trying to get it as evenly or parallel to the wall and the platform that it's on, so that it doesn't look awkward when it's completely finished. And I might just have to leave it there. I'm not sure. I'm sort of thinking, what can I do to fix it? What can I do? And I'm back to, I can't quite remember what I'm doing here. Stairs, of course. And I was thinking of using these stairs, and then I was thinking, hang on, no, I want a bigger area than what these stairs will allow. So let's go for the floor stairs, the wooden shack floor stairs, because they're really good. I really like them. And yep, there's always something in the way when you're building. So yeah, so it gives us a 2x6 area, which is awesome. That's a really good size. It's probably going to be bigger than the living area, actually, now that I think about it. But you've got to have plenty of space for a bar. You know, you've got to have a dance floor, and you've got to have the actual bar area itself, and there'll be a cooking area, of course, because you've got to have food at a bar, not just booze. Otherwise, you know, people get too drunk. And it will be the place to socialise, and the settlers love going there in the mornings and in the evenings after their work day. So now I'm just trying to figure out, okay, how far out can I go without messing up the rest of it? And I'm thinking, no, that's good enough for now. Let's get some barrows up. 2 reasons for putting these up now. 1, I have a habit of falling off things when I'm building, and I don't know, I don't think this was high enough to cause damage, but I've done it on places like the overpass on Finch Farm and things, and that usually results in death, which can be very, very frustrating, especially if you've just spent an hour building and you haven't done a quick save. That can be quite a problem. So, you know, you end up having done all that work, and then you fall off and you die. Not good at all. So I'm sort of thinking, can I fill that gap and piss around with it and so on and so forth. And you can see it's almost wanting to go exactly where I want it, but it just won't quite go. I can't quite get it low enough. And I leave it there, and then I realise, no, it's hanging off to, it's actually about, you know, it's got a gap underneath it, and that's no good. We don't want a gap. So we're going to keep trying, because you've got to try these things. And again, this is somewhere that, this is a challenge that PS4 users probably are the only ones left that have now. Because you can't, you've got to use what you've got. You can't sort of get around it. So you've got to try and come up with these creative ways and figure out what's causing the problem and come up with a solution for it. And often it's just using a different piece, like that piece there fitting amazed me at the time, and I was thinking, oh, okay, maybe it will fit there too, and no. And neither will that one. I can't get it. See, I just can't quite get it to the level I want. So you got to keep going, and I thought, oh well, I'll come back to that later. And I was looking at this corner and thinking, well, what am I going to put in there? Can I fit one of these other things in? And I thought, no, I'll just put a wall up for now. But that is probably going to be where we put a cooking area, because then we don't need a wall around it and stuff. And see, it fits, it clips into the wall a little bit, these shack things. And it's like, well, why wouldn't that other thing up the top clip into it? So just trying to keep on this part, we keep the textures a little bit different, a little bit mixed up, because unlike the garden area that I built, the this is going to be mixed up a bit, just because I think it makes more sense that something like this would be a little bit mixed up. And I really like making things stick out a little bit and you know, break up the surface area. And then we have this incredible frustration. I mean, it's so frustrating. I just don't quite understand why the snapping does this. And you can try and you turn it around and it just won't work. And you try a different piece of material and it's so frustrating. But eventually you do figure out a way to do it. Now in hindsight, what I probably should have done is let that thing clip out or snap out to the open area and then try and snap another piece in. And that probably would have worked. But I didn't try that. Now the roof won't go, and I'm thinking, why won't it go? Why won't it go? Why won't it snap in? And then it dawns on me that it was probably those railings upstairs, but it eventually did clip in. But this still won't clip in. It will clip inside, but it won't clip across there. And that's the randomness of dealing with stuff like this. In fact, I think what I ended up doing was not clipping it at all and just free placing it. Yeah, looks like I'm trying to free place it. And round it goes, because sometimes if you spin things around like that, suddenly it will clip in the right place and all your problems are solved. And that will the plain one wouldn't go in, but that does. How's that for you? So we're just building up the area, making it a bit bigger, and that's going to be really good for once we sort of lay it out and, you know, put furniture in, and, you know, this is going to be their go-to place. If they're not working, then that's where they're going to be. They're going to be in this place. And the roof of this, or the very top of it, we may put some extra things on. We'll try and put like maybe a couple of turrets or something up, but we'll raise them up as far as we can. We may have hit the height limit already. I'm not sure. I can't quite remember. I certainly did with the scaffolding that I did in the previous part, which was setting up the food supply for the settlement. If you haven't watched that, the link is down in the description, and the full playlist link is also down in the description. So if you want to start watching this from the beginning, just click the playlist and you'll be able to find the whole plan that I've got for Hangman's Alley and the initial building for what will become the character's home. And there's also the setting up the power and the water. Now, Hangman's Alley, you know, it's a small area, but I've managed to get 33 water and 24 power. I've worked out that I can get 96 power easily in a very, very small, tight space without using anything but the small generators. So I'm thinking, well, I'll try and get these things back where they were. They're not going to snap, sorry. So they are pretty forgiving though, so you can slide them in like this. Which is why it was so frustrating in that corner bit where I couldn't get them to sort of sink into the actual building wall. Whereas other things will happily clip straight through the wall and snap to whatever you're trying to snap it to. They don't seem to mind, but in some parts of Hangman's Alley you just can't get anything to go into the wall. I don't know what's behind these walls. I forgot to put the roof on. So I have decided to put a roof covering on the downstairs area, but not a floor area. So it's using those cloth. I guess you could call them roofs. I mean, are they roofs? I don't know what you call them. Tarpaulins, awnings. Maybe awnings is the right word. But I figured that would be more appropriate for the bar area, and it will discourage me from building an extra large bar area up top, because, you know, I like building large bars in my settlements. And again, it's just trying to figure out what's going on here and slowly moving things in and finding a way to make them fit. And as you can see over, they've just gone out of picture now. Even though I've gone and built a very tall farm area, which you'll see at the tour at the end of the settlement build, the settlers, well, I don't have settlers, they're all companions at the moment, except for Sturgis and Sheffield. But they are assigned to food, and they do go out there quite happily. They didn't at first, and then I think I came back after saving the game. So I'd saved, gone and done something else, came back, and lo and behold, they were happy to go up there. So it's some weird pathing issue. Hangman's Alley has loads of pathing issues. And here my stubbornness is showing again as I try to figure out why this thing won't just go into place. And I give up again. Because, you know, pick your battles. Pick your battles. It's like turning up into a location and suddenly encountering a mystic deathclaw. Are you going to shoot it, or are you going to run away when you're down to 10% health and you've run out of ammo? About to run out of ammo, yeah. So pick your battles. Building can be like that. And I think I'm just looking around now, figuring out, have I done everything that I want to do? And now I want to put a bar in and just sort of flesh it out a little bit, but we're not actually finishing the build here. We're not doing the decorations yet, not putting in furniture or anything like that yet. That will be probably done not as a video, unless people want to see how I go about doing that, but it's pretty straightforward, that part of it. Whereas this building stuff, that can be quite tricky. So I'm thinking, is that the right place for the bar? And of course, there'll be drunk people, so you don't want the stairwell open like that, so it needs a bit of covering. I know bars aren't supposed to have drunk people in them according to the law, but this is post-apocalyptic world, so I don't think that sort of comes into it. Just a basic bar, and what it does too is give us a nice little nook over here. I think we'll put like a, I don't know, maybe we'll put a couple of armchairs and stuff later. And here it is, not quite going where I want it. But I wanted enough space, so I put these as close to the stairs as possible. And they're pretty forgiving, as you can see. But a place anywhere mod would be much nicer. And I'm being a bit of a pedantic again, trying to make sure it's as close and snug as possible. And of course, we've got all these things sticking out. All these building structures sticking out. And if I'm a bit of a, I want things to at least seem like they're supported. So part of this will be setting up some pillars and posts and stuff to make sure that it's actually supported. And just checking out what it's going to look like when it's, you know, when it's got lights and furniture and other things in it, and what they can see, and whether or not I can fill that gap again. I'm still looking at it and thinking I must fill that gap, but maybe later. Maybe later. I'm thinking now the stairs are around the wrong way. They're a bit awkward. So just move them back into place. Get out of the way, Deacon. That's better. Much better. Walk up into an open space. I'm thinking those might be around the wrong way as well, but no. And am I going to... No, I thought maybe for a moment there I thought I was going to give that corner bit one more attempt, but I think I gave that one up. And now we're sort of thinking, how am I going to actually support this? Because, it's sticking out quite far. It needs some sort of support. Even in the real world with cantilever beams and all sorts of things, you'd struggle to make something stick that far out without some sort of support. And I don't think they've got any engineers of that nature in the Fallout Wasteland. I would say most of them have died and the knowledge would be lost, so they would have to make do with what they've got. And just trying to make sure that they're sort of sitting right. And that's the other frustrating thing. It was happy to move in there before, so why won't it now? And you just got to sometimes move things out of the way and suddenly it works so that you can get the right angle. And continue. Just making it look a little bit more realistic. And now that I'm looking at it, we'll probably put some shops underneath. I think that would be quite nice. Maybe the clothing store and stuff like that. And it's a good utilization of the space, and it makes it more sensible because, of course, what happens if it rains? Having the shops out in the open is a bit silly, especially with a radiation storm. So why not stick the shops in a sensible place? And utilize the space that you've got. And I was thinking, oh no, do I have to move the stairs? Or can I fudge it? Can I fudge it? Most of the time you can fudge it, but every now and then you just end up having to move stuff around again. I'm pretty sure in this instance I can fudge it. And see, if you turn around and look at it a different way, suddenly it's happy to go into the surface that you're trying to push it into. And there, we're pretty much done. I know, just straightening them up, trying to get it a little bit closer to the outer edge. Excellent. If you've enjoyed this video, please do click like and hit subscribe for more content like this. You've been watching Smellbad's Gaming. Thank you.